Hello all, I am the Holland Phantom, and for today's video we're going to be having a live battle from the 2012 format. On one side, we've got the Darkrai deck as used by Igor Costa, the Masters Division World Champion of 2012, going up against the Celebi Mewtwo Tornadus deck as used by Zachari Bohkari, the Junior Division semi-finalist of that year. So we'll see which of these two decks can take to victory today. But before we begin, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and to my Twitter account at Holland_Phantom so you don't miss out on any new Pokemon TCG content. And now with that out of the way, let's get into the battle! And here we go, the battle has started, with both players flipping over their starting Pokemon. On the Darkrai side, we've got Smeargle as the active Pokemon, and on the Celebi side, we've got Celebi as the active Pokemon. The Darkrai side is going first, attaching a Darkness energy to the active Smeargle, and then using Professor Oak's new theory as a support for the turn, to shuffle away the player's hand and then draw 6 brand new cards. And then we see the cards being drawn. Let's see if the player gets any more Pokemon or item cards to use. Otherwise, the player can also use the Smeargle's ability Portrait to possibly play more supporters. And it's going to be the play Portrait is activating, looking at their opponent's hand. Oh, but there's no supporters there, so they can't activate it. Okay, the player then benches 2 Darkrai. It's going to be the main attacker of this deck. And that's going to be it. Quickly over to the other side. Let's see what the Celebi player can do for their first turn. Starting off by benching Tornadus EX. And here we see Dual Ball as their first trainer card, flipping 2 coins. Oh, and they're both tails. Otherwise, the player could have searched their deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon to add to their hand. There we see the next item card, Random Receiver, revealing cards off the top of the deck until they reveal a supporter card to add to their hand. And there we see it, Professor Oak's new theory, the same one that was just played by the other side. And it's going to be activating. And now this player gets to shuffle away their hand to draw 6 brand new cards. Let's see if they get any more Pokemon or energy cards. So we might be able to see the first attack coming through, as Celebi can accelerate energy when it's in the active spot. Okay, there we see another Dual Ball, flipping another 2 coins. And they're both heads this time, so now the player can search their deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon. Let's see what they're going to be. It's going to be a Smeargle, same as their opponent. And Terrakion, as Terrakion can hit Darkrai for weakness. So both Pokemon coming into the player's hand. Smeargle comes down to the bench. Looks like Terrakion is not coming down just yet. There's Forest Breath activating from Celebi to accelerate a Grass Energy onto the bench Tornadus. And there's the manual attachment. It's going to be a double colorless energy. Oh, but the player did not have a way to retreat the Celebi, so it stays in the active spot. Now over to the Darkrai side once again. An Eevee is equipped onto one of the Darkrai, followed by Darkness Energy. And there's Portrait, once again looking at their opponent's hand. And this time they have a Professor Juniper. So now the Smeargle player their Darkrai player gets to discard their hand to draw 7 brand new cards. And plus they still have access to their own supporter for the turn. And that's what made this Smeargle so good in this format. Okay, there we see a Random Receiver from the Darkrai side. And the player reveals N. So I might be seeing N being played to shuffle away both players' hands. The rest of the cards get shuffled back into the deck. And let's see what else the player can do for this turn. Oh, they're not going to be activating the N. That's going to be it. Back over to the Celebi side. There we see Energy Search. To search either a Grass Energy or Fighting Energy out of this deck. Let's see what they're going to be getting. It's going to be a Grass Energy. Possibly to accelerate using Celebi's ability again. And that should be able to pay the retreat cost. Yeah, there's the Forest Breath. Attaching a Grass Energy to retreat Celebi, promote Tornadus. And now we should be able to see the first KO of this game. There we see Terrakion coming down to the bench, gets a Fighting type energy. Getting it ready for a future turn. Oh, and there's a Pokemon catcher. It's going to be bringing up one of the Darkrai from the bench. And there's Professor Juniper, the discard of the hand and draw 7 brand new cards. Also for some newer players that might not be aware, this is the original Pokemon catcher that does not require a coin flip. Okay, there's the attack Power Blast, hitting for 100 damage, and there's a coin flip. It is heads, so Tornadus does not have to discard any of its energy cards. Now back over to the other side. There's the Super Scoop Up. It needs a coin flip. Let's see what it is. Oh, and it's tails. So it does nothing. Otherwise, the player might have gotten this Darkrai out of the active spot. It is pretty heavily damaged. And there's N, forcing both players to shuffle away their hands and draw 1 card for each of the remaining prizes. So both players are going to be drawing 6 cards this early in the game. Okay, let's see what else the player can do. They don't have any way to power up this Darkrai just yet. Yeah, there we see a Darkness Energy coming down to the active Darkrai to activate its ability Dark Cloak to retreat for free, and Smeargle comes back into the active spot. There's another Portrait ability. It looks like the Celebi player has N as the only supporter. And now both players once again shuffle away their hands to draw another 6 cards. 2 N's in one turn. Okay, there we see the cards being drawn. So I think we're still not going to be seeing any attacks coming through from the Darkrai side. They're falling behind. Your turn passes back over to the Celebi side. A second Fighting type energy comes down to the bench Terrakion. And an Eviolite comes down to the active Tornadus. Eviolite protects basic Pokemon from 20 damage. There's the attack Power Blast once again, taking the KO against Smeargle, but the coin flip that time was Tails, discarding the Grass energy of Tornadus. But Celebi takes their first prize of the game. Okay, the damaged Darkrai comes into the active spot now, and the player activates Dark Patch to get back a discarded Darkness energy to equip onto the benched one. Alright, there we go. It just needs one more Darkness energy to be fully powered up. Let's see if the player has it in their hand. There's a Pokemon Catcher to bring up the Smeargle on the opponent's side. So we should be able to see a Revenge KO coming through this turn. As long as the player has one more energy in their hand. Oh, but first, there's Professor Oak's new theory to shuffle away the player's hand. Draw another hand of 6. The player's trying to dig through their deck for another energy card. Let's see if they get it. And yes, they did. The third Darkness energy comes down to the bench Darkrai. And now it goes into the active spot. And there's the attack, Night Spear, to take the KO against Smeargle, and also hits the bench Celebi for 30 damage. And now both sides are tied, 5 prizes remaining apiece. On the Celebi side, Terrakion comes up as a new active Pokemon. As like I said earlier, it can hit Darkrai for weakness. There's a random receiver, revealing some more cards off the top of the deck until the player finds a supporter card. And so far, that is a lot of cards. Still no supporters. There it is. Another N. And let's see if the player's going to be activating it. So right now, Terrakion can hit for, let's see, 180 damage. Minus 20 for the Eviolite, so 160 damage. Not quite enough to take the KO against Darkrai. The player needs at least 1+ power to take the one-hit KO. A dual ball searched out a Mewtwo EX from the deck. Just spinning out the deck for right now. Let's see if Mewtwo's going to be coming down to the bench. It looks like no, it's not. There's the attack, Retaliate, hitting for 160 damage, I believe. 100, 50, and 60. Yeah, 160 damage. Darkrai is down to just 20 HP remaining. Mewtwo EX comes down to the Darkrai side, and then it gets an Eviolite of its own. Yeah, this is the infamous Mewtwo EX from that format. Pretty much most of the top decks ran at least 2 or 3 Mewtwo, because they were weak to each other using X-Ball. There we see Random Receiver from the Darkrai side, revealing some more cards off the top of the deck to search for another supporter. And like in the previous turn, digging through a lot of cards. I already lost count. Let's see. Oh, they had a bit of a spill. Okay, still no supporter. Alright, here we go. Keep going. Nope, still nothing. Finally, there we go. Professor Juniper. The rest of the cards have to be shuffled back into the deck first. And then we might be seeing a Professor Juniper coming through. The player also needs a Super Scoop Up to get this Darkrai out of harm's way. It's taken way too much damage. Let's see what else the player can do. Okay, yeah, there we see the Juniper coming down. Discard the hand and draw 7 brand new cards. So they need a way to get this Darkrai out of the active spot, or to start powering up another one, because the one that's already on the bench is also pretty heavily damaged. Then we see a Dual Ball. Okay, flipping 2 coins to possibly search out some more basic Pokemon out of the deck. And it's 1 heads to search out 1 Pokemon. And let's see what it's going to be. Oh, it's going to be Shaman this time, using its ability Celebration Wind to move energy around on its side of the field. So we might be seeing all the energy coming down to the bench Mewtwo, possibly. Let's see what the player can do. Oh, never mind, they have a third Darkrai. And there's Shaman coming down, activating its ability Celebration Wind to power up this brand new Darkrai. It's not going to be enough to take the KO against the active Terrakion, but they can take the KO against the bench Celebi with the sniping damage. Okay, there we go. 3 energy onto the benched one. The active one retains one of its energy card in case it needs to retreat. And there's the Super Scoop Up. Okay, it is going to be heads. So it's going to be picked up to fully heal it. And not only that, the player also gets back the Eevee to give to the new Darkrai. Okay, so pretty good turn so far. Just making some more space on their bench. There's the Eevee coming back down onto the active Darkrai. And then when the Darkrai that was just picked up comes back down onto the bench. And then he gets his own energy card. There's the attack. Night Spear hitting Terrakion for 90 damage and then taking the KO against the bench Celebi. And Darkrai is taking the lead now. 4 prizes remaining to 5. So once again, Terrakion will be able to hit for only 160 damage unless the player can find a plus power this turn. Okay, there's an end, forcing both players to shuffle away their hands. Darkrai will draw 4 cards and the Celebi side will draw 5. Let's see if they can get the plus power or a Pokemon catcher to bring up the new Darkrai to knock it out. Can they do it? A second double colorless energy comes down to the bench Tornadus. Oh, and that's going to be it. There was no plus power or Pokemon catcher, so Retaliate only hits for 160 damage. Okay, back over to the Darkrai side. A second Darkness energy comes down to the bench Darkrai. No more cards to play. There's the attack. Night Spear to take the KO against Terrakion, and also hits the bench Tornadus for 10 damage. And that is 3 prizes remaining for the Darkrai side. They've taken the lead, although this Darkrai is pretty heavily damaged. Yeah, there's going to be an easy revenge KO with Power Blast, taking 2 more prizes, and the coin flip is going to be heads. So Tornadus does not have to discard any energy cards, and now both sides are tied, 3 prizes remaining apiece. The next Darkrai comes back into the active spot, is fully powered up. Actually, not yet. It just needs 1 more energy. My bad. There's an Eevee. Okay, there's the 3rd energy. A Prism energy counts as a Rainbow energy when equipped onto basic Pokemon. And there's the attack. A Night Spear hitting for only 70 damage thanks to the Eevee. Okay, the Celebi side does need more Pokemon, so they don't lose the game. There's the Sky Arrow Bridge, and yeah, there's the next Celebi coming down to the bench. Followed by Junk Arm, discarding 2 cards for any trainer card from the discard pile. And it's going to be the Pokemon Catcher to take the KO against the bench Darkrai, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there it is, Pokemon Catcher, bringing up the damaged one on the bench. And that's going to be another 2 prizes taken by the Celebi side. There we go. Oh, and followed by Professor Juniper to discard the rest of the player's hand to draw another 7 brand new cards. Just getting ready for a future turn in case his Tornadus goes down. There's the attack, another Power Blast, taking the KO against Darkrai. There's a coin flip, and it is heads. So Tornadus does not lose its energy cards. And on the Celebi side, it's down to just 1 prize remaining. As long as they can take 1 more KO, they can win this game. Darkrai comes back into the active spot now. Oh, and there we go. A double colorless energy is equipped onto the bench Mewtwo. And then it jumps into the active spot. It should be enough to take the KO against Tornadus, as X-Ball hits for 20 damage, times the number of energy cards on both active Pokemon. Between the both of them, it has 6 energy cards, hitting for 120 damage, minus 20 for the Eevee, but it's still more than enough to take the KO. And now both sides are tied. At 1 prize remaining apiece, it's going to be Celebi versus the world, going up against a fully powered up Mewtwo and Darkrai. There we see Terrakion coming down. He gets a fighting type energy from the hand. And there's the Forest Breath, accelerating a grass energy onto it, so it can at least use Retaliate. It's not going to be enough to take the KO against this Mewtwo, though. Terrakion then gets an Eevee. And there's Professor Oak's new theory. Okay, here we go. The player's going to be gambling it all. They're going to be needing a Pokemon Catcher and a plus power to take the KO against Darkrai. Let's see if they get it off these 6 brand new cards. Celebi can retreat for free, thanks to the ability of the Sky Arrow Bridge. So there we go. Terrakion comes up. Do they have the cards they need? They can end the game right now. Okay, there's the Pokemon Catcher. Oh, but it's going to be the Shaman! I forgot that was there. Yeah, Retaliate should be enough to take the KO. There's the final attack. Retaliate to take the final KO. And the final prize. And there's a handshake. Celebi is your winner. So what did you guys think of that battle? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow and reach new viewers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, this is the Holland Phantom logging out.